The Bahamas has moved away from the threat of being blacklisted. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis sharing this news in the House of Assembly this morning, a day after the Bahamas was invited to the coordinating body of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD's Multilateral Convention. That convention is a freestanding multilateral agreement aimed at promoting international cooperation for the better operation of tax laws. Now, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Peter Turnquest and Minister of Financial Services Brent Simonet left the country for Paris with the purpose of signing the convention. However, that plan was nixed following the invitation. The Prime Minister stresses, though, that despite the significant progress made to date, there's still much to be done to mitigate other pending threats to local financial services sector.
Following receipt of a letter November 7, 2017, forwarded to the government from the BEPS Code and Conduct Group advising that the country had been given a reprieve from blacklisting by the European Union until February 2018, a series of industry briefing meetings were sponsored by the Ministries of Finance and Financial Services and the Office of the Attorney General, with the assistance of the CRS Working Group, senior officials and regulators, to focus on the issues listed in the letter. A letter was signed on the 11th December 2017 and issued by the Ministry of Finance to the OECD Code of Conduct Group, confirming that the Bahamas commits to complying with the minimum standards.
And here's what those minimum standards involve.
1. Action 5. Action 5 on harmful tax practices. This action is comprised of two angles: the prevention of the harmful nature of preferential tax regimes and a transparency framework that will apply to tax rulings. 2. Action 6. Action 6 on treaty abuse prevention and tax treaty shopping. Provisions in double tax treaties to prevent treaty abuse, inclusive of treaty shopping, by implementing the use of conduit companies to channel investments through jurisdictions with favorable tax treaties.
Just last week, several Caribbean countries were named on the European Union's blacklist of tax havens: Barbados, Grenada, Panama, St. Lucia, and Trinidad and Tobago. Blacklisted countries could lose access to EU funds. Now, if all goes as planned, the first honorees of the National Honors System will be appointed next year. This now that regulations have been tabled in the House of Assembly, paving the way for a committee to advise both the Prime Minister and the Governor General on individuals worthy of recommendation and awards.
The development of a Bahamian system of national honors will greatly enhance the ability to recognize a wider cross-section of our fellow citizens who have offered exemplary public, national, and community service. It is important to note that a national honors system must be zealously guarded to prevent overindulgence and potential misuse. There must be balance and prudence in the grant of honors. A national honors system must not become a partisan political system, given mostly to awarding certain categories of individuals. It is important for us, Mr. Speaker, to have a system of recognition which is capable of expressing in a very meaningful way the grateful thanks of a people and a nation to those who deserve special recognition.
The Prime Minister added that recognition is due to those who have sacrificially given in areas such as culture, politics, athleticism, charity, and artistry. The recognition would be given to persons in both the public and private sector, as well as uniformed branches of government in 8 specific areas.
Of honors pursuant to Section 5 of this Act. And these honors include: 1. The Order of National Hero, 2, the Order of the Nation. 3, the Order of the Bahamas. 4, the Order of Excellence. 5, the Order of Distinction. 6, the Order of Merit. And 7, the Order of Lignum Vitae. 8, any other honor that may be constituted by the Governor General by order at a later date. Each society shall have its own rules and rights and privileges.
A committee of 10 persons will advise the Governor General as to who the honorees should go to, and all awards would be announced by July 10th, with confirmation taking place the second Monday of each October. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis said the act will not exclude those who have been honored by Her Majesty the Queen.
The National Honors Act 2016 clearly states, for the avoidance of doubt, any honor conferred upon any citizen of the Bahamas by Her Majesty the Queen shall not be extinguished by reason of this act coming into force, or the appointment of such a person to an order, or the award of any other honor prescribed by this act. Additionally, nothing in this act shall cause a person who has been conferred with an honor awarded by Her Majesty the Queen or any other honor to be ineligible for conferment of an honor under this act.
Defense Force and immigration officials say they are not about to be caught off guard. They're bracing themselves for what they've termed an influx of migrant smugglers and traffickers who typically make their way to the Bahamas this time of year. And RBDF Commodore Tellis Bethel made it quite clear that this means upping their game.
When you're dealing with smugglers and criminal entities, these are thinking people. And we're not dealing with a generation of people now that just take one approach and when they're caught, they continue along the same path. That doesn't happen anymore. The level of desperation determines the degree of action. And when we shift our methods of operating, they get on board and they shift. And so in the past, we've had frequent landings on the southeastern sector of our island, and that has slowed tremendously and has come to a virtual standstill. But now we have clear indications now they're moving west along the coast here, and so we have to make the necessary adjustments.
Now, when it comes to apprehending these migrants, or even poachers for that matter, Commodore Bethel says the force is putting the necessary measures in place.
Certainly we have to prepare ourselves and position our patrol craft to be able to address that issue. The reality of the situation also entails us conducting anti-poaching patrols. Of course, we'd also be aware of the fact that there has been the closing of the Nassau grouper season. And around this time, there are a number of spawning sites that are opened as well, that operations are taking place through our waters. And so as best as we can, we have to balance the use of our resources to address these issues. And for example, in the southern Bahamas, where you might have migrant trafficking, smuggling taking place around Inagua, for example, sometimes they come further west to the Ragged Island chain, and the distance between those two islands are approximately 120 miles. And so while that is happening, you also have situations where poaching is taking place, foreign poaching is taking place, for example, around Inagua, and of course extensively, and throughout the year we have it on the Great Bahama Bank. That distance can go between the two areas can be in excess of 200 miles. And so the reality of our situation is you cannot be everywhere at the same time. So our approach basically is to, whenever we can, make use of the intelligence that we do have, and if there's a lack of intelligence, we have to use a calculated guess to where we are required to check hotspots.
To ensure illegals are apprehended before their vessels land, authorities have come up with a short-term course of action. A multi-agency multi-agency coastal security program that pulls from the police and the defense forces, immigration, and customs. Meantime, the government has given illegals until the end of the year to voluntarily leave the country or else. Despite this, others continue to come. Just this past Monday, a Haitian sloop was discovered near Clifton Pier. Nearly 60 illegal Haitian migrants were caught as a result. Less than a month earlier, a similar sloop came ashore on the southwest coast of New Providence undetected. When we return, tragedy strikes an inner-city family. An alleged murderer appears in court, and the police need your help to find 11 suspects. You're watching JCN News. There's more straight ahead.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.